This thing doesn't always tell us the truth.
That'd be weird. We're talking.
The computers are already lying to us, man. Like, they don't even have sentience yet, and they're telling us lies.
I know you missed this.
Oh.
Everybody missed this.
All right.
It's been a while.
Yep.
It's the last podcast we did was back in July, I think.
Was it July? That long ago?
I think so.
I might be able to
I think it's been a couple months.
see here.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to July. Does this say?
No Bud Light Lime, though.
2 months. About July, yeah.
No Bud Light Lime.
Unfortunately.
I think it was the August long weekend we didn't do one that weekend. So I think it was the Friday before that.
Yeah, about 2 months because we're at the end of September now. The problem is this is 2 months. It doesn't say whether it's late 2 months or early 2 months.
Whatever.
But,
non-specific.
Yeah.
But hello, everybody.
One thing we should try is getting something to put around our beer cans. Because I think maybe this is an idea that I've seen other YouTubers toss around, is that the algorithm maybe picks up on stuff like it's going to recognize a Coors Light logo. And it's going to know that that's beer. It's going to like flag it as like drugs and alcohol, and it'll just be less likely to push forward. Maybe hiding it with like a little slip thing.
This is just a Coke.
Apple juice.
Coca-Cola.
It's a pop.
It's a pop.
We get a pop.
It's a soda pop.
It's probably better to give kids beer, to be honest.
Probably. Yeah. Actually, realistically, it probably is better.
All right. Well, we're gonna start this off with a bang.
Bang.
With an absolute bang.
Really?
Hopefully. Yeah. There we go. For all you chubby chasers out there, you might need some help. So we're gonna teach you how to have sex with a fat girl.
Nice.
This is a Vice article from like 2019, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2019. Hint, touch, and I cannot stress this enough, the fupa.
What's the fupa?
I don't know. I think it's like the round part of the belly. I think maybe it's like a word for a fat belly is a fupa.
I've got a word for that I've heard tossed around. You ever heard what that's called?
What?
The gunt?
Oh, the gunt.
The gunt?
Yeah.
Ugh. Some people
I think fupa's a new-ish word. I think H3 popularized it with a video they did like back in the day. Okay, yeah, the fupa is the fat upper pubic area.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, everybody likes to be touched there.
If it's fat.
If it's a fupa, yeah. I mean, I've had actually towards the end of the summer, I probably had a bit of a fupa myself.
Yeah.
Too much indulgence.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
This whole article, that's like the most important thing.
Like, you're having sex with a girl who's fat, and you're like, ooh, you're gonna avoid the fupa. If you're having sex with her, you're probably touching everything. Anyway.
Yeah.
But thanks, tips.
Before fucking someone new, I feel the need to address I'm fat before we meet. My Bumble bio reads, honey with a tummy. See, at least though, people like this don't like get on my nerves so much because you get a lot of girls that like try to lie about it.
Oh yeah.
I've seen girls. It's actually hilarious. I've seen girls on these apps where, you're scrolling through the pictures, right? The first picture is like them. It's like, oh, she looks cute, and you scroll through, and she's like getting progressively bigger in the pictures. To the last pic is like her really fat, and it's like, these pictures span several years, don't they? Yeah. And you're putting your best self from 5 years ago first, and then you're having the progression throughout to that's what you look like now. Right. Look like now, isn't it? And it's like a weird thing.
At least they're not completely catfishing you.
No, but you do get the ones that do that. They're just like just their face or whatever.
Yeah. I'd just be upfront. And it's funny because
some people are into that.
You and I are a little different on this.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind a thick chick, right? But it's all about how. It's all the proportion.
Well, yeah, it's like, is she lying to you too?
No. I mean the proportion of the body of how it's put together, right? Like if you just fat,
you're just kind of lard.
But if you're
around.
thick and stuff, it's a little different for me. But no, I know what you mean online though. It's one of the big. So women will say that guys lie about their height, and women lie about their weight.
Yeah.
It's the two different things, right? So I've never lied about my height. I'm a short guy,
Yeah.
so I don't see the point in lying because you're gonna meet them and then
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's weird.
Yeah.
In fact, the thing I hated about certain ones is certain online things like Tinder and that there's no. You have to put it in your bio. You'd have to say I'm X.
Yeah, or they'll ask, and then you'll tell them.
Yeah, then you talk about it right away, right? But there's no good way to ask a woman if she's fat.
No.
How do you ask that?
Yeah.
So, how do your clothes
Yeah,
fit?
that she gets all upset.
Typically, like if you were to pick a favorite number, as far as like in regards to
Just
clothes,
ask, how many calories a day do you eat?
Yeah, what clothing number would you pick?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then give her a range. Is it between 1 and 5?
Yeah. That's
Is
why
it between 6
you
and
hope
10?
that they actually have a full body picture on there, which is what she's talking about. You know, that she's got photos, multiple full body shots.
Yeah.
But she's like, and still, I always end up asking, how long have you fancied fat girls? It's just like, it's such a weird question. How long have you fancied fat girls? What if it's someone who like genuinely doesn't really care? Yeah. Like some people like don't care. Like
you have to err on the side of caution, right? Because most people do have preference.
Well, yeah.
One where it's like I said with height.
Yeah.
Like I would understand that. There was women, I've run into women all the time online where they'd be like, you know, I could tell that my height put them off. So I was like, whatever, that's fine, that's cool. Like I'd rather just be
yeah, most people do, but I'm saying there are definitely people out there. Maybe there are like people who have been really fat themselves and then got thin. Who's like, I don't think there's anybody that wouldn't argue that like the supermodel type isn't hot, even if they are the kind of person who's into a big girl. Because like some people, big girls are their thing.
It depends. I mean, because you have now, it's like supermodel. If you're talking about like supermodels of maybe like 10 years ago, and they're like the Victoria's Secret models,
that's
skinny.
I'm not talking about the body positivity.
No. I know what
models.
I'm saying though is because they used to be quite skinny, and I was kind of put off by that.
Yeah,
I like a model now. I like a woman that's got some muscle. Like you can actually see her legs.
Just be actually fit.
But yeah, like I don't want to see muscle in the way
skeletal.
of like, you know, ripped muscle where, you know, it's like she's competing. But it's just that you can see muscularity in the legs and the ass and the, you know, maybe a little in the abs
held
and
together.
Stuff. Yeah, but so I can see where people would be less attracted to the quote unquote model just because
you might want a little
I'm
more,
not really into
a little bit more on them than like the skeleton type, because it is definitely too small. But
I know what you mean. That you can't, like, you would err on that side over the other way, I think, because I think more people would be okay with somebody who was not excessively skinny, but like a little on the skinny side, as opposed to someone on the other end of the spectrum, on the fat side. Yeah, you know, you'd get more people that would just be, you know, that
for some reason, it's just like generally, like I just find it unattractive. Well, okay, I think that there are psychological reasons for me why I find it unattractive, but I think that there's more to it. Like, I wonder if, because people talk about how it used to kind of be like a status symbol. That was true.
Yeah, because you were healthy.
You had food, right? Yeah. And now that that's not the case, I wonder if it's kind of shifted to where people are not consciously, but they are subconsciously recognizing that the fat person that they see in the street is fat because they're like gluttonous and they don't have self-control, right? Especially like most fat people don't like that they're fat. You know, they're hiding their body. They're like embarrassed. Yeah. They feel ashamed. So it's like, if you're fat, you're like, I fucking love this. Like, I love to eat 2 large pizzas every night. Like, live your life, man. Like, good for you. But yeah, I think there might be that element there to people being unattracted to it. It just maybe is signaling something.
Yeah.
In our current context of like, oh, you're not putting any effort in.
I think that's with anything though. Anything where somebody, like, you know, if somebody's a smoker and they hate it. And they're always complaining, like, oh, you know, and they're embarrassed of it and stuff. There's a part of us that they'll look at them and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? Then stop doing it.
Yeah. What are you going to be
Get some self-control.
It's like them over there. Like they don't talk about it like it's a good thing, but like they own it. They don't act like they're ashamed. Like, oh, hold on, we need to stop playing this game so we can go have a smoke. Like, they're not embarrassed by it at all. So it's like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It would be annoying. Mm-hmm. It would be annoying if there was that, like, hiding it or like
That's why when anybody says they're gonna quit smoking and they go, "Oh, I'm gonna quit next month or whatever,"
It's usually
no, you're not.
I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit next month.
Yeah, I go, no, you're not. I'm gonna. I go, you want? I'll make you a freaking $1,000 bet. You're not going to.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to do it, right?
Because you don't want to.
Anybody who really, really wants to do something will do it.
Yeah.
It's about the level of how bad you want it.
Yeah. Other drugs, cigarettes, they're pretty addictive, but it's not quite the same. Like other things, like heroin, I guess a little different. Like you do start to need it. You know, like it's hard to get off something that will kill you if you just stop. Because everything about
different.
you.
That's different.
It's
The weird thing about it is,
but like overeating,
get off it, though.
Overeating, alcohol, all that stuff, you can stop.
But when people get off it and they're completely off it, and then they go back to it, that's something psychologically wrong with somebody. If let's say you're a heroin addict, and like 3 years later you pick up a pipe and smoke some heroin again, there's something fucking off about you. You knew how bad that was. You kicked the chemical addiction to it, but you still have some psychological addiction to it. It's almost
the
like
now. It's the now versus later.
Well, yeah, but I think it's self-destructive.
I want the good. There could be a self-destructive thing, but I think maybe it's not even that complicated. Maybe it's just people saying like, "This would be really good right now," so they do it, and they don't think about the spiral that it's going to send them on because they don't care because all they care about is the good feeling that they're going to get right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not that kind of person, so I don't understand it. But
yeah, and I'm very good at just like not doing things.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like I've felt very strongly.
I do touch the fupa a lot, though.
You do touch the fupa.
Yeah, I'm all over the fupa.
I felt a very very strong pulls. Well, it's only with cocaine because cocaine's like addictive. But
is cocaine addictive? I heard it wasn't.
Yeah.
Really? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I've heard it wasn't.
Yeah, it's pretty addictive. I remember feeling like when I did a whole bunch of it last Halloween. I remember for like two, three, maybe a month, I really wanted more, and like I recognized that feeling in me. I was like, I'm not gonna do this for a while, if ever again. This is not a good feeling. Like you can't be craving something this way.
Shit.
So I just kind of didn't do it.
For some reason, people that I know that do it, they always say, "Oh, it's not that addictive. I can stop."
Because they do it enough.
Yeah, probably.
They do it enough to sort of do
Never
it.
done it. I'm not in any area to ever do it, so I won't.
No, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. That's why you should stay away from it, because that's what pulls you back to it. If you don't have the mentality, like I do, to be like, all right, that was a really good night. I'm not going to do that again because it's going to send me on a spiral. If you can't do that, then don't even.
That would probably be like you having sex with a fat girl.
Maybe.
Because you'd be like, oh, that was really good. But I'm not going to do that again.
Maybe.
I'm not going to do that again.
I'm not doing that again.
I mean, I probably didn't spend enough time with Fupa. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be real about this. She said it a couple times. What else? Let's see. Okay, so touch Fupa, go down. This is what else.
Well, let's see what this says. The answers vary from never to it's a preference to I never noticed. The latter is the most insulting. That what kind of guys are saying that? Oh, I didn't notice that you weighed 250 pounds. I'm the size of the elephant in the room, and you want to pretend that I don't weigh double whatever you do, at least in reality. Sometimes I'll shag a fat fetishist to feel like a gorgeous goddess, and the rest of the time I'm just making sure they're not a fat phobe before I let them poke a finger in. This is a crazy thing too.
Yeah.
A fat fetishist. It's like you're acting like it's a bad thing that there's a subset of people that are like specifically into like what you are. Mm-hmm. Like I don't understand that. I don't understand pretending. Well, obviously
it's some self-hate too, though.
And this is like the dumb woke stuff where I got to find the victim and everything. It's like, oh, you were. I don't even know what it is. It's like you're attracted to me, so bad you. I don't understand it.
Well, it probably has to. But, like I said, it relates to the fact that she's not attracted to herself or happy with herself. So she's like, "How could you be attracted to me?"
When someone's like really,
and if you're really attracted to me, then you've got to be. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
But there's like it's almost like she's looking for a middle ground though. She doesn't want the fat phobe and she doesn't want the fat fetish. The fat fetishist. Yeah. She wants.
Well, this is the kind of woman that ends up 35, childless, with several cats and no one willing to touch her.
Because she smells like cat?
Mostly because she smells like cat piss.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone into someone's house?
Oh yeah, they have a lot of cats.
Like that.
Yeah, well they go nose blind to it.
Yeah,
Because the cats will fucking spray and shit.
Oh yeah, everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere. I remember
Mark
we
their
were
territory,
when I was delivering furniture. This one house in particular we went to. It was this woman, obviously lived her own, probably mid to late 30s. Had a bunch of cats, and the cats were just all around doing their own thing or whatever. But you walk into there and it fucking reeked of cat piss.
Yeah.
Like reeked. Like I remember, like I had a cat growing up, and so I knew that smell very well. And whenever he would pee anywhere he wasn't supposed to, like it was a whole fucking hassle to clean it up and to make the smell go away.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like this fucking woman, this was just letting them.
There's two different things. There's cat piss and then there's the spray. They spray a thing. It's not piss. It's something. It's like a
Maybe sometimes they pee,
and it
though,
smells
and,
worse. Like it smells.
maybe it's supposed, they
worse.
smell very much the same or very similar.
Really?
If
I thought
anything.
the cat piss didn't smell that bad.
Well, then
why doesn't the litter box smell that bad?
Well, because it's scented, like it's
Yeah, but
scented
still.
stuff. But you smell like it's the same smell. You pick up a clump of
I never noticed that when I would
pea-soaked
clean up my
litter box.
ex-wife's cat shit.
I noticed
Piss?
it. I noticed it.
But
It's not as bad in the litter box because it's a scented thing.
But my buddy Pat had a cat and a hat. And,
Pat the cat in the hat.
Cat and hat. But when he would go away and he'd come back, and then he'd come back to work after he went away for a week or something like that, he'd have his jacket on. His fucking jacket would reek with like cat spray.
Yeah.
And he was nose blind to it, right? But I'm like, oh, you fucking stink, bud.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyways.
All
right, let's carry on with this thing.
Touch the fupa.
Mm-hmm.
It's a universal truth known by fat girls that the fupa is the most intimidating part of our body. I know this because my fupa been touched so little that I'm surprised she hasn't shriveled up and fallen off. That's because you keep eating.
It's not going anywhere.
That's because you keep eating.
It's just not going anywhere.
I think this is what some guys were hoping would happen too. Avoiding belly touching makes it all the more obvious that the belly is there. If you eat a cupcake and leave the frosting on the plate, it doesn't stop the icing from existing or tasting like a treat because we know you're not putting that plate away without eating that frosting. 100% you're eating that frosting.
There's a lot of food references here.
Yeah. You know what? You didn't have to tell me you were fat.
Tell me you're fat without telling me you're fat.
Yeah, it's like if you want to fuck me, fuck all of me. The hottest shags are the one that grab my belly like it's a third tit, kiss the flesh on the way down to the kitty, and aren't pretending my body is less than it is. Now, honest to God, that description is disgusting to me. Like I find the imagery that brings up repulsing. Like I want to throw up. I want to throw up. Why?
Because you got issues, bud. I think you got.
Sure
I think you got molested by a fat girl when you were.
I got molested by a fat girl. Yeah.
Stop mentioning skinny girl.
You'd be surprised how hot holding on to soft flesh feels when you get over yourself, get a grip, and get into the actual body of the fat girl you're shagging. Stop. Oh, yeah, this is where she's going. I can see it on your lips. It's dying to jump off. You're deciding between I've always wanted to fuck a fat girl or I prefer your curves to thin girls. If you've ever wondered the quickest way to kill a vibe, this is it. You're not special for wanting to fuck a fat girl. There's pages upon pages of Pornhub videos of men fantasizing about it, and it doesn't make a girl feel special to be told the reason you're getting shagged is your body size. That's weird though, because if the reason you're getting shagged is because of your body, because when you're like a typically attractive girl and like it's your body, that's like this guy's like really into your body. Like the girls really like that.
Well, because
this is the opposite.
They feel like they've worked for it. Right?
This is that self-hate that you're talking about.
Well, the funny thing about this is like she's talking vulgar in the way of just fuck me and shag me and all this shit.
Yeah.
She's not referencing like a boyfriend or a husband or a long-term relationship.
She doesn't have any of that.
What I'm saying, but she's not referencing that. But she's saying,
that's true.
But she's acting in the way that you should be more attracted to some other things about her other than her body.
She's talking about
you.
like
This is
a random hookup.
if you're just randomly hooking up, and I have a fat fetish, I'm going to be talking all about how fucking hot I think your fat body is.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I love the personality of you that I don't know really anything about. I love all the different nuance to you that I know nothing about. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, I love your obsession with Harry Potter.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's already stupid, but it's absurd.
Just now it's getting stupid.
Well, I'm saying it's already stupid, but this makes
the fact that this article exists is
makes it even worse.
Ridiculous. Let me get rid of these. If you're fucking a person specifically to fulfill a fetish, the least you owe that person is to tell them about the fetish. You'll be surprised how many fat women will be down for being a BBW, but forcing a kink on a woman who just wants to be shagged is fucked up. Might I introduce you to Phoebe? Where my best friend told me I could find a fat boyfriend, and all I got was harassed for pics of me eating 12 pot noodles.
Pot noodles?
Just 12 noodles? 12 pot noodles? What?
I don't know what a pot noodle is.
I don't know.
It must be a big fucking noodle, I'm guessing.
Maybe. It ain't for me, but there's plenty of feeders, feedies, and fat fetishists to choose from. That's gross.
Yeah.
Use your imagination. In the BBC documentary Too Fat for Love, blogger Emma Tamsin Hill visits a London sex emporium where her and fellow fat friends get tips from sex coach Athena May, who shows the ladies how to support their weight going on top, different positions for face fucking, and how to use a sex wedge pillow. Love how the sex to these people has now become a feat of engineering.
You gotta get
right, here's how you support the weight on this side, and if you're gonna go here, you're gonna need some supports here. You're gonna want to put your hooks there. Make sure they're in the supports.
Get your harness hooked up to that. Have a 3-point on it.
Knowing all this info as a fat girl is definitely helpful, but as a single woman, if a guy wipes out a sex wedge as soon as I arrive at the booty call, I have to say I will be swiftly exiting the booty call. Isn't that just common courtesy? Instead, use this info with a little less rehearsal. Have more than 2 pillows on your bed so you could pop one under the pussy if needed. If your bed is a flimsy piece of shite, let's shag on the floor. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, can't fuck in the shower because you can't fit. Finger me in the bath. Stop trying to force our bodies into doing the wheelbarrow when the only handles either of us can grab on to our love handles.
Jeez. All right. How long is this article? I'm almost finished. Yeah.
It's one more thing.
What's this? Trust us?
When a skinny girl shares a meme about not going on top, it's a funny shared moment of laziness between sisters. But when a fat girl says no in the moment and some stupid cis dude tries to encourage her to climb aboard by stating, "You won't crush me," the world feels like it's falling down. I know I won't crush you, as I am not a falling building or that giant boulder from Indiana Jones. But the implication that I could is there when you say that I won't. Don't try and motivate me into doing the missionary position. You are not Derek Evans. I don't know who that is.
Must be a big dick guy.
Maybe. That's my guess. In almost all the sex I've ever had, I've known what I want doing. Knowing what I want doing more than my partner does, mainly because I've been nearer to my clit for longer than anyone else. This is true of anyone who has ever owned a clit. You ever owned a clit?
Yeah, I had a clit for a while.
If your girl says she doesn't want to go on top, it's probably because going on top is a lot more effort than bending over and taking a doggy. Not because she's waiting for someone to caress her face and tell her it'll be okay.
It's more effort.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that sounds like work.
It'll be even better lying back and taking it. Yeah, and this is just, if a fat girl is your last choice on a night out, don't even bother. It's like, yeah, that's probably true anyway, if you're really that desperate.
That's funny. I like that, how to have sex with a fat girl. That's pretty funny.
I don't know why that even
How'd
exists.
you find that?
I literally...
Were you looking up how to have sex with a fat girl?
I was looking for some advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found that. It just popped up on my... on I think one of the YouTubers I'm subscribed to posted a link to it.
Heard your inner thoughts
something.
and this guy's going to find this fucked up, so let's just...
or hilarious. Let's see if I can... Because it was pretty recent. It might still be close to the top of my feed here. Oh yeah, there it is. Casual Bachelor posted it 2 hours ago.
Nice. Excuse me. So we'll start with something light and we'll get into heavier things.
Yeah.
World War III.
Yeah, everything's falling apart. World War III. Russia is annexing bunch of Ukraine. Joe Biden blew up a pipeline, and now NATO is threatening Russia over it.
China and Russia are
they're allies.
Now,
well, they've been doing military drills for a little bit now.
Yep.
Together.
Off the coast of Alaska, apparently they had in a U.S. zone. They found Chinese vessels. Yep.
I believe it.
And what they call a not financial economic zone.
Oh, okay.
Meaning like where fishers, I guess, where the fishermen go for fishing and stuff.
Yeah, and you have Chinese police stations in Western countries.
Yeah, that seems legit.
Yeah, it's actually illegal, but no one's doing anything about it.
Doesn't it sound a little like the mafia? Because you think about it, like you have police, and then so back in the day when organized crime, when you had the mob and mafia around, they'd go into areas that were high crime, and they would be like, "Hey, okay, we'll offer protection."
Might control it.
And they'll clean it up.
They
right?
did it their way.
Yeah, and if you don't pay, well, you're fucked. You're in trouble.
Now you're the criminal.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna break your legs or bust your business up or whatever the fuck they're gonna do. You're gonna pay one way or the other. You're gonna pay because it's not fair that you're not paying and everybody else is paying.
Yeah, China's saying it's just to monitor their own citizens, which is horrifying to think about.
How can a foreign government allow a foreign country, like a government of a country, allow a foreign government to employ like police or whatever you want to fucking call it
within their country?
Within their
it's
country.
Easy. They're compromised.
That's crazy.
They don't have a choice. They can't fight back.
So weird.
The West is completely infiltrated by China. Like, if war actually broke out, I think it'd be fascinating to see, because there would be, as horrifying as it would be that we all of a sudden are broken into war, but I think a lot of these institutions within the West are completely infiltrated and completely controlled by China. And so assuming we go to war with China, it would be interesting to see how these institutions react, because they would all of a sudden be China behind enemy lines acting, like
I don't know how war breaks out though. Like, so when you look at World War One and Two,
you got the Nord Stream thing now.
I know, but when you look at World War One and Two, it was all in Europe, right?
Yeah,
all the war was breaking out there because, like, realistically, it's easy, essentially, right? Like, and that conflict has been going on. I mean,
it was war started between countries there, right?
No, I know, but I'm saying though now is
Hitler invading Poland,
so this would be more like the war between, like, the end of the war of World War II between the U.S. and Japan, right? Because it's like
World War III would be fought in Europe.
But that's what I'm saying. It has to be fought somewhere like that, because realistically, the logistics, unless you're talking about major bombs, the logistics of getting across the water for either country to attack the mainland of either of those countries is pretty difficult.
You can't get close.
It's easier for the U.S. obviously, right? Because
they got a bigger military. They got more boats.
Well, you could station in Europe or station in somewhere in Asia.
But China could get into South America.
I feel like they could get into Canada.
Well, I think they're in Canada. Like the Chinese military,
they have Trudeau as a
he's an asset for sure.
As an asset.
But for a while now, the Chinese military has been allowed to just kind of come and go as they please into Canada.
I know they were training them up in the cold.
Yeah, so it's like they can get into Canada, they can get into South America.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it'll be a territorial war over sort of the West. I think it'll be a war fought in Europe.
Yeah.
Over certain things.
Poor Europe, man.
I know, they're going to get decimated again.
They're just positioned poorly.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the middle of the world where everybody can just kind of like, let's just put all our shit here.
Yeah.
Let's play war games here.
That's I think it's probably just because it's the center of the modern world. Yeah. That's where it all kind of branched out from. Yeah. And so it all comes home to roost.
But it's scary because like you'd either get that or you'd get the other worst case scenario where they would just use, WMDs type thing, right?
Yeah, I think we will see nukes, but I don't think it'll be the end of the world because there'll be smaller tactical nukes meant to take out, like a I don't know, like a city.
Still,
Instead of launching the big ones.
Imagine that. Imagine dropping a bomb that could take out 50,000 people. Even.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You can do that. Here's the crazy thing: we definitely have things like tungsten rods in orbit. Have you heard about how that would work? No. Tungsten specifically because has a really high melting point.
Sure.
So the idea is you have these rods. I think something maybe like a meter long and like that thick of tungsten. Give it like a aerodynamic point. You have it in orbit. And so you then basically just drop it from orbit into the atmosphere. It's going to slice through the atmosphere. And because of its aerodynamic properties, it's going to slice through the atmosphere and it's not going to slow down very much. And the kinetic energy of it hitting the ground is like the equivalent of a World War II nuke, I think, the amount of force that it would generate.
Really?
It's a huge amount of force. Because there's just so much kinetic energy from it coming down. It's going to hit the ground at like 6 to 7 kilometers per second.
Yeah.
And so apparently that generates this huge explosion, or would generate this huge, massive explosion. And that's a kinetic bomb, essentially. And there's no way we don't have those. There's no chance that we don't have these things in orbit because it's too easy to do. It's too easy to put up there. So why wouldn't you have them as a contingency, You probably couldn't shoot one down either if you were to target like one at a military base or something. You probably couldn't shoot it down.
Yeah,
it's going 6 kilometers per second.
I couldn't see you being able to target it all that well.
Yeah, or what do you mean?
Like, do they have targeting systems on it and everything, or is it just
the rod itself?
Yeah.
No.
Then how would they be able to sort of pinpoint where they want to?
Well, because it's a pretty basic calculation of where it's gonna.
Well, I'm saying, but it's not like a smart missile where they can fucking.
It's not.
They could hit your eyeball from.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah, so it's just going to be an area. They're just going to hit it to an area and be like, fuck it, whatever happens in that area.
The accuracy would be pretty tight. They could probably hit this section of this house if they wanted to, specifically, just because it's.
I hope they don't want to.
I really hope they don't want to.
No, but I reinforced my roof with tungsten.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a 1 meter thick tungsten. So what ended up happening, I don't know if you know this about tungsten. If tungsten meets tungsten, it
goes away.
It reverberates and
bounces.
Sends it back where it came from. Yeah.
You probably couldn't defend very well against this either because it would be going like 6 to 7 kilometers per second.
How are you going to defend against that? You're like defending against the fucking asteroid coming.
Well, you could do that if you see it early enough.
That's what I mean, but
or a missile, right? Like even a supersonic missile, like there are systems.
You can't even really blow it up.
That. Well, you kind of.
How could you blow it up? It's a tungsten rod. How could you blow up a tungsten rod?
Well, I think all you could hope to do is like cause an explosion powerful enough, close enough to it, to like where the shockwave pushes it away. So it's going to be like going like a rod going super fast. If you could turn it sideways, it would probably lose a lot of momentum from the drag. But if it's going like 6 to 7 kilometers per second, the precision to do that, I don't know that you could.
I don't see how you could do it. So it would basically then it would be getting from the outer atmosphere to the Earth in what, 10 seconds?
No.
How far up is it? You said 6 to 7 kilometers a second.
Yeah, well, the International Space Station is going like 8 kilometers per second.
Yeah.
So if you put it at orbit, at the same orbit of the International Space Station.
At the height of that orbit, down.
The height of the International Space, it could be lower, but the height of the ISS is like 350 kilometers-ish, 400 kilometers, something like that.
Is it that far up? Yeah. I didn't think it was that far up.
I think it's...
Because it's in our outer atmosphere.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that far up, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I'm going to look up the distance to our outer atmosphere.
Well, look up the height of the ISS.
To ISS. 408 kilometers.
Yeah. Wow. So, but also you got to keep in mind too that 8 kilometers is laterally, so it's not going straight down. It's coming in like that, which also makes it harder to detect because now it's coming like over the horizon at you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it would actually take to hit the ground.
Even then, let's say it's 6 kilometers a second. Holy shit, you're talking about like a minute and a half. it gets to the ground. They got a minute and a half to fucking mobilize and shoot this thing down.
It might be less, or it might be more, a lot more than that.
You said 6 to 7 kilometers.
Yeah, but it's not straight down.
Okay, well,
because it's what you would do.
it's got to be relatively straight down. It's not going to be like.
No, you don't want it to be, because it'd take too much energy. Well, potentially. I don't know exactly how hard it would be to slow that down that much. But it's like when you're doing a re-entry from the ISS. The ISS is traveling roughly 8 kilometers per second. Mm-hmm. You have your module with the guys in it, right? That thing is slowing down, but it's not slowing down by 8 kilometers per second. That takes a huge amount of energy to do. Mm-hmm. You slow it down to like 6 kilometers per second. So what happens is your periapsis, the lowest part of your orbit, gets to a lower altitude, so that as you're going around, you dip into the atmosphere, and then the atmosphere does most of the slowing down, and you have these, like a re-entry vehicle is designed to use the atmosphere to slow down mostly. If you have a rod that's designed to slice through the atmosphere, you would just slow it down enough so that the low point of the orbit is basically where you want it to hit, adjusted for the rotation of the Earth, and then it would just travel down, right? Like, you see what I mean? If you got the Earth going around, it would go like that, saying. Instead of just slowing it down so that it goes straight down. Because you wouldn't, if you slowed it down and went straight down, it'd be going pretty fast. I don't think it would get to that speed though.
Right. I
don't think it would accelerate back up to.
I get what
you're
saying.
You want it to be the shallowest angle possible to maintain that as much velocity, so that you have as much force as you possibly could.
I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know anything about it because it's the first I've heard of this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird to think about what a war would look like, because there's so much.
I think a lot of it be like
there's so much that
drone
just
strikes
didn't exist. There'd be a lot of drone strikes, but then there'd be like maybe it would be more like World War II than we think, because maybe very powerful EMPs would disable everything, like everything dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe you could have like an EMP that is capable of targeting a drone. So if you detect it on the radar coming in within 100 kilometers, maybe you could just disable it, and then it falls out of the sky. Maybe you can ignite an EMP that just disables satellites and everything. Maybe a relatively weak country like Ukraine could theoretically develop an EMP that, if detonated, would wipe out every single satellite, right? So it's kind of like a one hit, but it disables every single satellite that's in orbit, and then like, so many systems don't work anymore, right? And now we're pretty much back to World War II technology. Obviously you have better planes and stuff, but even then, a lot of those planes might rely on the sort of satellite
GPS
stuff
and navigation and stuff.
Sure, data.
I would think so.
Communications.
And if you
disrupted.
took down the communication network, or if you did something to the power grid or something like that, fuck, man, how do you
generate a powerful
how do they communicate properly? How do they do anything? You're disrupting all kinds of different systems. Yeah, I don't know.
Really interesting to see how it played out.
I don't think interesting. Scary as fuck.
Interesting, scary, interesting though. I think interesting is real.
Stock up cans. Stock up your canned food, man.
Canned goods.
Canned goods and water.
We should get chickens.
Chickens, yeah. Chickens. Little fucking killers.
Little fucking killers. I'll have an army of chickens.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anything serious is going to happen. I never really did, because I think people are too afraid, which is nice. I think nuclear weapons are a great deterrent.
My thing is, my fear is China, because China's dying.
Yeah.
We listened to that podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
Of that guy who was going over all the statistics, and he basically said that China's population peaked like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or something like that, and by 2050 the population is going to be like half of what it is now, according to current projections. This is already having a serious impact on their economy, which is already falling apart. There are so many issues within China and the Chinese economy, with like the real estate thing and people boycotting mortgages now. China might find itself in a situation where it has no choice but to like lash out at the world with war. That might be its only hope at surviving as a nation, which is what scares me. Because it's like when you're in a situation, especially if you have someone like Winnie the Pooh running your government, you don't know how far they would go to preserve their nation. And it might be one of those things where it's like, well, fuck it. If we're going down, you're all going down with us.
That's if they know or believe that they're going down.
Yeah.
Hubris could be involved too, where they think, no, we're the...
I would say that that's been the case, the hubris. But I think what's happening now as the momentum of the old goes away and things start to go bad and, you start to get reality makes you get a clear picture of like, shit, things are not going so well. I think China, at least the Chinese elite, and is very aware right now of the issues that they face. And while they might be optimistic that they can fix it, that optimism might be dying, by the week even, or by the month as time progresses.
Yeah.
And that's my fear. My fear is that we're dealing with specifically China, a country that is dying, that might lash out as a result to try to preserve itself.
What scares me more is the idea that there's weak government in the West, that they might see that as an opportunity. Now you've got somebody who's not all there at the helm, or
not in control at all. He's definitely not. He's 100% not at the helm. He goes on TV and says that they'll defend Taiwan, and then the White House does a thing. Yeah, this is not the White House's position. He says that what else did he? What did he say? What was the other thing that he said that the White House said wasn't real? I forget. He said a couple things now that the White House has then come out and corrected and said, no, this is not our stance. And so it's like, hold on. If what the president said isn't the White House, who's
weird.
in charge?
That's so weird. Imagine working somewhere and the CEO of the company comes on a video and he says, or she says, this is the new direction of the company, this is what we're going to do. And then all of a sudden some fucking weird executive came on and went, no, that's not what we're doing. It's business as usual. You go,
wait a minute. I thought that guy was in charge. Like, what's going on?
You're the CEO. What the fuck is going on here? Like, it's so weird.
It's the most overt examples of a sort of deep state government that I think we've ever had.
At least with Obama.
Has it ever been that obvious?
No. Because, so like when back to Bush, I think Bush was sort of the first president maybe where it was like, where we were sort of aware that maybe he might not be fully in charge type thing, because you had Dick Cheney and Rumsfeld and they seemed to be kind of like the puppet masters in some way. Like they, I don't know. It was strange. It almost seemed like they put him in place and they went, hey, you know what? You got the name. You just sit there, look pretty, be the president. We're going to fucking run shit. But then when Obama stepped in, it seemed like he was in charge.
Right.
Like there was no inclination that there was some weird deep state that was in charge, even though there likely was.
He probably was their guy, and that's probably why.
But he seemed like he was fully in control and fully in charge. And then you get Trump in, and you go, okay, he's not in charge.
He's clearly not in charge.
Clearly not in charge. Like
they're lying to him.
They're lying to him. Yeah, they're straight up lying to him.
Like,
so
what's happening here?
They let him get away with certain things, I think.
And now you have Joe Biden, where they're just like,
and it's even worse now.
He says, he says something, then the White House is like, what is the White House? Who's saying that? Who gets to undermine the words of the president?
Has it always been that way, and we just didn't know?
Maybe, or maybe it's been progressively getting worse. It's always kind of existed. It's like the military-industrial complex, right? Like, how powerful is it? Maybe very.
Yeah, maybe the fucking generals control everything.
Might be beyond that. Not the generals. Maybe like the fucking CEOs of Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and Boeing. Yeah. Maybe those are the real leaders of the United States.
It really is kind of scary
Pfizer
and crazy.
And Moderna.
You just don't know. And the more people see that, the more, and I don't know if they realize this, the more people see that, the more people lose trust in the government completely.
Yeah.
The more they're inclined to lean towards some type of civil war or something like that, because they're like, hey, you know what? We can't trust the government. That's, now we need to band together to overthrow this government who seems to be tyrannical.
Yeah.
Because
or is increasingly more and more tyrannical. And it's it's such a weird time. I think it's a very unique time because I think while a lot of elements have existed in the past, the internet was never a factor.
Yeah.
You could never see it as clearly. Like, it was too easy to dismiss people. Now, when CNN does a story saying, lying about Trump, saying Donald Trump called white nationalists fine people, you can go online, find the speech, the video of him saying the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And you can show that to somebody. And that's a lot easier to kind of convince people like, hey, you're being lied to here, than if just the news source that they trust is just telling them that, okay, well, this is the case. And you're just like, oh, well, that must be like,
and now
they're going to know.
But now you have to factor in deep fakes.
Yeah, that's
like how fucking like it's fucking weird because like you'll watch something and go, was that real? Mm-hmm. And then even if you were somewhere, right? Like you've obviously experienced this. Everybody experiences this, where your memory starts to fail you. You're somewhere and you remember something, and then you later on you try and recall it and you go,
You ever get?
I can't remember that detail.
You ever like get into a room with a purpose, but as soon as you're there,
you
forget what you were doing.
How many times did that fucking happen?
Why'd I come over here?
Fuck, I've done it where I'm literally from here. I'm like, I'm gonna go pick up my phone.
What am I doing again?
What the fuck was?
Why'd I come over here?
Like, how does that? So, how do you even trust your brain, really? So, and if you can't trust your brain or your memories, and then you go to trust,
you already know eyewitness
video
accounts
that
are very
that you've watched or whatever, right? And now,
that's gonna be
there's deep fakes.
That's gonna be a huge deal. At least now, at least we think now, the videos that we see are real.
The Matrix is updating.
Yeah,
that's what's been going on for the last little while.
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
one big update. Once it's
maybe
finished
we need
updating,
that giant EMP to just reset us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's an update. It takes a long time. It takes
a while.
It takes like a fucking decade for us.
Yeah,
but really for the Matrix, it's only like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
right?
It's a couple seconds.
But it's a decade to
10
us.
years. Yeah, that's.
They're gonna reset us right back to like 1981 or something.
It's not a bad time.
We're all gonna have like weird hair. And,
I wouldn't mind being 25 years old in 1981.
It would be tough to get a mortgage and stuff.
Yeah, but
interest rates were like.
But it'd be easier to get a job.
I think interest rates were like 14, 15%.
I mean, it'd be easier to get a job that would that you could save money at.
Maybe.
An apartment might cost $300 a month.
Yeah.
Well, maybe $800 a month relative to today.
Yeah. I don't know. It does seem like it would have been a better time.
It's just a simpler time.
Yeah. Although
no internet.
Simpler, but you don't have some of the comforts that we have now.
Yeah, there are the comforts.
It's so weird, because you look and you go, even if you've ever driven in like an old car. What's the oldest car you've ever driven?
Oh God, not old at all.
Yeah. So I've driven
probably like 2010.
Yeah, I've driven cars from the 60s and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And you drive it and you go, this is so fucking rudimentary. There's nothing to this thing. It's one big box with a steering wheel.
It's a machine.
It's got nothing. It's got no electronics or anything to it, right? And now you drive something and it's got everything.
Yeah. I wonder though, I thought of this just now. Maybe that relying on but there's so many things that are so much more convenient and so much more comfortable. It's like maybe that's somewhat analogous to drugs, where like you're doing the drugs and it's hurting you. It's bad for you. You're addicted. It's not good on your health. You're getting high and you're doing literally nothing for an hour when you could be productive or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But you justify it by saying, "Oh, but it's just so much more comfortable. It just feels nice, right?" I wonder if there's a comparison there where it's like the technology it's adding all these comforts and conveniences to our lives, sure, but that's hurting us. It's taking something away.
Taking a lot of things away from us. Oh, sure.
It's taking away our need to be self-sufficient, to be independent.
Our ability to properly interact with each other.
Right. Our ability to problem solve. Right. Like, what happens in the 1980s if I don't know, if your car won't start in the mall parking lot? You probably got to go inside and ask around to see if anybody can take a look at it or maybe give you a jump start. Mm-hmm. If that's not the case, you're going to have to go to the payphone and call a mechanic.
When I first got my first car, it was 97 or 98.
You do everything through
you just have to figure it out.
People interpersonally. Yeah. Now, you just Google mechanic,
You know what I used to
press
buy?
the phone button and they come and they fix your car.
You know what I used to buy when I would buy a new car? Or like buy a new car. When I would buy a car when I was a kid? What's called the Haynes manual. It
shows you how it.
Yeah, every vehicle
works.
had a Haynes manual. I think it was Haynes. You get my Canadian Tire, and you could go through it, and it would show you how to do various things. Like I rebuilt a carburetor because of the Haynes manual.
Yeah, they don't got that shit anymore.
Yeah, like now you look on YouTube, right? Somebody's done it for you, and they just tell you exactly how to do it, and you just follow, right?
Yeah.
Or
and a lot of the modern engines are they're just not like. There's a lot of stuff you just can't do.
Yeah, you just can't do it.
You just can't do it. You got to take it in.
Yes.
Which sucks.
Like a Tesla, for example, you can't.
You can do anything on a Tesla.
No, but you can't do shit.
No,
it's all software crap. You gotta take it to a Tesla dealer, and they do all their own shit to it, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Unless it's mechanical, unless it's like something to do with the wheel, or
right. If like the
differential
axles a little bit. Like
that.
I saw a video of a guy turning the steering wheel to a Tesla, and it was like being really squeaky. You might be able to fix that.
Yeah. I would think.
Yeah,
but
it depends on where the problem originates, but. What a weird time.
Yeah, I know. But you don't really know anything different.
No.
Like I kind of do. You know, growing up, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So
the internet was always a part of my life. But when I was young, it was just at the computer at home or like at school. You'd have the computers. It was you could go to the box to get on the internet. We didn't have sort of smartphones. Phones were still basic. You had cell phones, but they were still basic flip phones. And I remember when I was young, 10, 11, 9 years old, maybe even younger. Like I was able to. I think I was amongst the final generation that kind of had that freedom of like come home when it's dark kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go out with your friends and you do things, we fucking get up to whatever we're getting up to, whether we're going to someone's house or riding our bikes or whatever the hell we were doing. Mm-hmm. We do it without a means to contact our parents or a means for them to contact us.
Yeah.
We were just out there in the wild, kind of being kids. It sounds fucked up, but I don't think it was.
I don't think so either. But
I don't think it was fucked up at all.
When you compare it to today's standards.
Today, you don't, your parents can call you whenever.
Fucking kids with leashes now.
Yeah, kids have leashes now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but then also by the time I was 13 or 12, I think I was 12 years old when I got my first iPod Touch. It was like the third iPod Touch.
Yeah.
And then basically from that point on, I had the internet in my pocket. It was Wi-Fi only at first, right? Yeah. But that still was a major jump from the internet being you had to go to the box to get it, and then eventually that progressed.
You never dealt with dial-up?
No.
Yeah. No. I dealt with dial-up.
Nothing like that.
My first computer I bought, I think I was in grade 12. It would have been 96.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a computer and it had dial-up and everything. I purchased I called Bell Canada, set up a second line. So I didn't take up the main fucking home phone line. Yeah. And I had a second line, and then I'd log on. If I logged on late, I was doing everything I could to muffle.
I feel like
the sound.
A lot of people would be dead within a year if the internet just disappeared.
Fuck. People couldn't live without the internet. I can't even live without the internet. When the internet goes down, I'm lost.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
I'm like, what am I doing now? Holy shit, I gotta do something.
Everything.
I gotta go outside?
Everything I'm doing is using the internet. I'm like, shit.
Yeah. I think my phone, if you were gonna rank it, it's probably the most important piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's an extension of you.
I have at all.
It is quite literally, in a way, an addition to your mind.
Well, yeah, you'd just be completely disconnected from everybody if you didn't have it. You'd have to go and connect.
Well, you'd be disconnected from everybody, but also you can use it for like, I don't know this thing. Here, let me check real quick.
Yeah.
I want to remember this thing. Here, let me take a picture real quick or a video. Like so many stuff. I don't know where I'm going. Let me just ask, and there's gonna be a line, and I. So
imagine in 10 years when it's exponentially better.
I was gonna say in 10 years when we're back to being cave people because it's a kind of thing. Yeah, well, it's exponentially better. What's exponentially better? It'll be in your mind, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I think maybe we'll have like.
I see that happening a long time. I don't see that happening as fast because people would be really resistant to get on board with that. You'd have to let all of my generation and earlier, die.
Well, the people would be a little bit resistant to get on board, but
Especially in the early stages.
The early stages. But like, if it worked, and it worked really well, I think that would go away. Especially if they don't try to force
depends on how long that takes.
It's kind of like you release the first iPhone and it becomes a huge thing, because it's like, at first people maybe would have made fun of it, like the touchscreen's weird, it's new, it's different.
Yeah.
And then everybody realized that it was better than everything
The only
else.
thing about that, though,
a few years later,
it's the risk. The risk you're taking with an iPhone is what? A little bit of money.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The risk you're taking with some kind of Neuralink.
Right, but also the reward would be significantly higher.
I know,
potentially.
but
if it's like, if the people that do it early on and then they're walking around like they're instantly
higher class
1,000 times smarter than anybody that's ever existed before. They just like know everything, and like everything, like they're almost superhuman. I think that would encourage a lot of people to do it, because they
filter
see
through all
these
the
people.
How would they filter through all the real information versus the fucking?
It would have to be.
Phony
It'd have to be AI doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that'd be
Well,
tough.
what do you mean real versus phony? I mean, you do it the same way you do now,
No.
and you'll get some wrong.
I know.
And some
What
right,
I'm saying though
but,
is, okay. So if you want to look up how to rebuild the engine of a fucking whatever,
right.
there's so much bad information out
and it's
there.
all
People
gonna
doing
be-
it wrong.
it's all gonna be
all
in
going to
your
be
head.
just there. So
Yeah.
how does it go? Okay, this one's a trusted source. This is the actual way to do it, and this is not the way to do it. And just
there will
filter all
be probably.
You'd have access to
This is
all
what
that.
Elon Musk talks about merging with AI. It'll be like a tertiary layer of cognition, right? So you got your various layers of cognition. The AI will be another layer where there's the internet, there's your mind, and then there's the AI layer between that is filtering it.
Yeah, but that's a different
for
thing
you.
altogether.
So
That's,
the AI is going to know what you're asking for.
yeah.
And it's going to be able to pull from that, because you're not going to have.
But our phones can't even do that. Like Alexa or Siri, they can't do that, right? Right now.
No,
So
yeah.
I'm saying
But it takes a minimal.
If you took this and put this in your mind right now.
It takes a
you're fucked.
minimal amount of intelligence to go, into YouTube and search for the thing.
I know.
And kind of filter
What
through.
I'm saying, though,
that's
is-
kind of bullshit. That's
What I'm saying though is there's a lot of people will show you how to do the wrong shit.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's legit.
Yeah,
I see it all the time. For some reason I'm getting all kinds of construction stuff now.
I do too.
And it's
I wonder why.
Yeah, I know. But I see people, they'll be showing a way to do something. I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah.
I know that won't work. Like I watch and go, that's bullshit. That's something you're fucking around somehow with the video or something. Like that won't look good. It won't work. That's not the proper way to do it. And then there are other times where I look at something and go, oh, that's fucking cool. That I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But there's so much of that.
I think a lot of it will be the exact same, where except instead of you having to watch a 5-minute video, a 10-minute video, a 5-minute video to see, okay, now that I have all these different data points, I can kind of see this guy maybe didn't really know what he was talking about, and this guy did. You'll be able to comprehend that data, or you'll be able to sort through that data faster. That it's going to take you to watch a 10-minute video or whatever.
Maybe.
It'll like go through your brain faster. And so it'll be like everything else, where the best way to get to the source or to get to the truth is to take in as much data as possible.
I still think there's all kinds of other factors that you can't factor in. Like, so if you ever run into this where you try and teach somebody something and they just, for fucking whatever reason, they cannot get it.
Yeah.
I've had it so many times at work where I'm trying to teach somebody something, and over and over and over, and I'll try to change my approach. And they don't get it. They just can't seem to fucking get it.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. So I would think it'd be the same with information. Their brain wouldn't process the information for whatever fucking reason. Call it a blind spot in your brain. They just couldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be able to get around it. So I think there's a lot of that would go on too. So I don't know how they would, like, having access to information.
I think that's where the idea of having an AI, layer of cognition,
well, if
would
you
help
had,
you get past that.
If you had that, and then how would that be tapped into your brain in order to make your brain?
Well, it's the AI is reading what you're asking for and presenting you what you're asking for. Essentially, it'd be. I think Elon described it as a symbiotic relationship. So it's like two separate things. There's like you and there's the AI, but the AI is the computer world, and then you're the real world, and then they kind of merge together. And so the AI, you're going through the AI to get to all the stuff in the internet, And so the idea, and it would have to be way more advanced than any AI that we'd have now, and it'd probably have to be personalized to you. But I think that's the only the only way to do it.
I still don't see it. I still see it as something that too many people would balk at, and you'd have like a 2-tier type society of people that did it, and there'd be the younger.
Oh, there'd be the skeptical people who are like, you say that you got this and you love it or whatever, but is it making you say that?
Yeah.
You know?
I think it would take like a decade or more for people to, because you'd get like a generation of kids that grew up with it kind of being normalized, and then as they got into adolescence, they'd be like, oh, this is normal. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then the next generation behind them would say yes, but as the older generation are dying off,
right,
and they're becoming the adults, now it becomes normal. That's why I think it would take a couple decades for it to become a thing, and for that, and even in those first couple decades, you'd have a lot of people going, I don't want to be first in. I'll wait to see how it works for Tyler.
Yeah.
Before I get in on that.
Yeah.
You'd have people like, I would probably be the type that if I were like maybe 70 or something, and it came out, I'd be like, fuck it, I'll try it. I mean, I'm 70 now.
Especially if it's claiming to enhance a lot of things.
I'd be like, all right, I'm 70, fuck it.
Your
I mean,
brain's
like,
starting to go.
If it doesn't work and I run into some issues, well, fuck it. I lived the life already.
Yeah.
So you get people that would do that too, but I don't know. I still think it would be a long time. It's not like picking up a different phone and going, oh, I'm going to give this a try.
Yeah.
Because there's no real, I tried a BlackBerry before. They fucking suck. I hate them. Like they're not really a thing anymore, but I hated them. I've tried an Android before. Didn't really like it. I mean, I can see because it's, it's very compatible with your computer and such. So I can see how people are like, they like it. But now that I've gotten used to an iPhone, it's hard for me to think of using any other phone, right? Even though it's really hard to connect that to a regular PC. Just fuck ton irritating. Got to go through everything through iTunes and stuff. It's fucking irritating.
Yeah.
But, anyways.
It's probably a good place to end it. We're at just over an hour here.
Yeah.
And
good.
I really have to pee.
Yeah. we came back.
We came back.
Die.
We'll get back into the groove. We know it's working again.
Yeah, we didn't
know
die.
it's fucking going. We're still alive.
For
better or for worse.
Like, subscribe, and
comment, shoot.
Comment, whatever, right?
Tell everybody.
And watch us on... We're going to probably start doing this, I think, Friday at 6.
Yeah, 6-ish.
6-ish for now, yeah. So look for us around 6 o'clock. And we'll talk.
We'll have it set up where it pops up.
Yeah. Well, once Tyler gets his shit together. All right.